Alright, welcome back. This is part two. I'm going to keep explaining the last of the headings. So if you scroll over to the right of the spreadsheet, there's a cost per unit, the recommended cost, and the installed cost. So the best way for this to work is the only thing that you need to really worry about is the cost per unit. Now the cost per unit, you're just going to put down whatever the cost is of the app. That doesn't mean the sale price or the volume licensing price. Will work on that prior to installation. But what's really important here is if it's a free app, just type in 0. If it's, you see the $3.99 there, just put in $3.99. The recommended cost is, you shouldn't have to do anything to that. That's automatically calculated. I told you earlier that if it's on the general sheet, depending on what you put in there, 50 for both teacher and student or 33 for just teacher, it will automatically multiply that times your cost per unit and give you the recommended cost. As we begin to install things, primarily on, again, this is more for the cart, we will actually move the recommended cost over to the installed cost so that we can keep track of what's proposed versus what we've actually already purchased. Okay? Now, in terms of department sheets, it's going to look slightly different in that you'll notice that over here next to your app name, there is no teacher, student, both. That's because primarily the apps that you're going to install on your department sheets are probably going to be ones that both teachers and students are going to be using. So for those, what I did was I just turned, and for the cost per unit, I multiplied that by 21, assuming the 16 for the iPad cart plus give or take 5 teachers, not to mention that you need at least 20 for volume licensing discounts anyway. So again, that's already done. Just know that when you're on your department sheet, if there is no area to put in teacher, student, or both, that's done on purpose, and it's still automatically calculated for you. So you shouldn't have to worry about the recommended cost column or the installed cost column, just the cost per unit column. Now I'm going to talk briefly about how you can insert comments into a cell. So if you want to make a comment about a certain app or something, what you're going to do first is highlight the cell that you're going to be talking about. So in this example, I don't know if you can see it, but the word processing is outlined in blue. Then you're going to go ahead and click insert and then comment. Once you do that, this happens. The cell that you were on highlights, and then you have your little comment box. So right there you can go ahead and begin to type, and then when you're done, hit comment. Then what happens? 2 things. First, the cell, notice this is a screen clipping from a different comment. The cell that you were working in now has a little orange triangle. So this is important, that even if you aren't inserting comments, if you see a little triangle next to something, you know that someone's made a comment about that app. What you want to do is, once you hover over that cell, so if I took my cursor and put it over pages, this comment actually go ahead and pops up. If you want to edit, delete, or resolve your comment, all you have to do is actually go ahead and click on the comment, and you can go ahead and do that. So again, another little neat way for us to communicate to each other regarding apps. Last but not least, I want to talk about how to actually search the spreadsheet for apps. This is becoming extremely helpful as the spreadsheet gets more and more apps added to it. It's actually the first thing I do, that when I find an app, I go ahead and do this first to see if it's already on the spreadsheet somewhere else. So what you want to do is you click Edit at the top, and then you're going to go ahead and click Find and Replace. Once you do that, the Find box opens up. Type in what you want, and then leave it as Search All Sheets. So for example, you would want to put in the exact, this is why it's important